Hello, investors. Welcome to yet another edition of 18 Minutes with 180 Markets. Friends, we all know that Australia has some of the most, if not the best, technical geologists and mining people in the world. And then when you couple that with a world-class potential asset, in this case, in the region of Chile in South America, when you have the right people and the right project, that gives us the best chance as investors of really creating a huge bonanza. And that's why I'm so excited today to be joined by Max Tuesley of Culpeo Minerals, because Max is running a company that gives us just this situation. And he also has that management expertise that I touched on earlier. And with that introduction, Max, welcome to 18 Minutes with 180 Markets.
Thanks very much, Greg.
Hey, Max, as I said, world-class technical expertise. In a couple of minutes, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I'm a geologist, Greg, by background. Obviously, cut my teeth in Australia, spent a lot of time working with Xstrata up in northwest Queensland on their copper assets up there. For the last 10 years, I've been working as an expatriate in places like the Philippines, Mongolia, Sudan, and other parts of Southeast Asia. So I come, I suppose, into Culpeo with a strong background in mine geology plus exploration geology, with a particular focus on base metals. So yeah, that's my background. I suppose from a Culpeo board point of view, we've also got a very experienced group of people who have spent a lot of time in Chile. We pride ourselves on the fact that we have that in-country experience, and that's helped us see assets like Lana Carina and hit the ground running, I suppose, when it comes to getting drill rigs to site and getting the actual exploration projects underway.
Yeah. Hey, Max, I think that what you're just touching on is incredibly important, that the team already has experience in Chile. In other words, this isn't just somebody who just showed you a project out of nowhere. You're sitting in Perth and all of a sudden it appeared on your doorstep, is it? You do have true in-country experience.
Absolutely. Two of our directors have been operating in Chile for over 10 years. We've also got a very experienced country manager who is a Chilean national, Sergio Uribe. He's a very key component of the team. Having that in-country experience and a guy based in Chile, that's really enabled us, I suppose, to have a bit of an edge over some of our competitors in being able to come across some of these exciting projects.
Yeah, for sure. And Max, turning towards, you said base metals in Chile, the Atacama Desert region, why is it such an explorer's dream, if you will?
Well, look, we're very focused on the coastal belt of Chile. So there's the geology of Chile basically runs north-south. So the rocks closer to the Pacific Ocean, that's what we call the coastal belt. This area is relatively low altitude compared to the mountainous Andes further to the east. So we like the coastal belt, particularly from an ease of exploration. It's a lot of infrastructure already available there, lots of roads, power stations, ports. Most of the potential workforce are based in those coastal towns. But the most important thing is the geology. It's absolutely amazing situation in the coastal belt. You've got numerous different types of mineralization. You've got your porphyries, you've got your IOCGs, you've got your skarn mineralization. So the opportunities there, particularly from a junior mining company, extremely exciting. And it's relatively underexplored. Chile traditionally has been the playground for the major mining companies, and obviously
Sure.
they've been focused in the Andes looking for those massive, porphyry coppers. But from a junior mining company point of view, the coastal belt, offers opportunities to discover, 50 to 100 million tonnes, size ore bodies. And like I said, in an area that, you can, as a junior mining company, develop those, relatively easily.
Yeah. And, Culpeo, focusing on your project, the Lana Carina in particular, can you just tell us a couple minutes about the overall, what is it about it that's so interesting and some of the characteristics of it, please?
Look, yeah, Lana Carina is a recent acquisition. We did the deal on Lana Carina in sort of March this year. We had the drill rig on site a couple of days later. We were attracted to the project because it did have some historic drilling into the mineralized zone. It only had a few holes, but they were, pretty substantial. They were wide, high-grade intercepts of copper and molybdenum. So that was the reason that we wanted to get our foot on this project. Since then, we've come into the project. We've drilled a total of 9 holes to date. The majority of which have hit some pretty exciting mineralisation. So, Lana Carina is high grade. It's very continuous mineralisation over considerable widths, and it's also outcropping on the surface. So the mineralisation is hosted within some breccia pipes that outcrop on the surface, and then that mineralisation, sort of transcends into sort of more of your, porphyry / intrusive related copper deposit at depth. So, certainly opportunity there for this project to become, relatively large, relatively quickly when we can continue to drill some holes into it.
Yeah, and speaking of speed, I believe in June you had a hit at 173 meters at 1.05% copper, and you have had some other, high grade intercepts. Have these results changed your forward thinking about timing, drilling, programs or so forth?
Absolutely. I mean, look, I think there's 2 things that we need the investors to be aware of. We've got very exciting potential to expand the mineralisation in the known Lana Carina area. I mean, most of our drill holes are still sort of open, particularly to the south and the west. So there's big upside there to extend that mineralisation within the known Lana Carina system itself. But the other exciting thing for us is the recent results of the ground magnetic survey. Looks like we may have at least another 12 to 13 targets based on the geophysical results. So, that's what we're focused on. We're focused on expanding the known mineralisation, but also, trying to, find additional mineralisation, within close proximity to that Lana Carina deposit.
Yeah, no, Max, it sounds, as I said, incredibly exciting. So can you just say over the next, call it 6 to 12 months, just give us a timing frame of the drilling activity that should take place?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, as I mentioned, we've got the 9 results back. So we're currently looking at obviously drilling some additional holes to continue to sort of expand that known mineralisation. And we've just completed a pretty thorough, very high quality mapping project over the tenement. So what we're looking to do is utilise the results of that mapping to help us prioritise these regional targets. So the next round of drilling will focus on both of those things, expanding the known mineralisation, but also testing some of these regional targets. So a lot of focus on Lana Carina, obviously, but a lot of focus on drilling. So hopefully we probably look to undertake another 5,000 metres of drilling, which is about the meterage that we've just completed.
Right. And also, are there any, obviously it's in the Southern Hemisphere, are there any issues as far as weather that we should be aware of, or infrastructure in the area that you're drilling that may cause significant delays?
Not really. No, look, we're lucky. We're in the low altitude area, so we're not really affected by the winter months in Chile. So snow and bad weather is not a problem where we are. We're only about probably 800 meters off the bitumen road. So
Okay.
there's a bitumen road basically going past the property. We've got power in the area. So Chile is from an infrastructure point of view very advanced. So it is a nice place to do exploration.
Right. And then, people, any accessing people, are there any issues with that either?
No, not where we are. The Chilean mining regulations are pretty, they're world class, really. So,
Okay.
when you've got your permits to explore, there's there's no issues with land access and things like that. Obviously, we like to practice a pretty strong community relations sort of focus. So we're always communicating with the local community, and as I mentioned before, having our very experienced in-country manager, that enables us to also to make sure that we're getting the message across and getting a lot of cooperation from the local communities.
Yeah, and I'm sure the devil's always in the detail with these things. So having that local experience, all those little things, I'm sure that you're well versed in how to take care of them. Hey, Max, just turning more towards the drilling again, can you describe or talk about, is it deep drilling that goes on there or shallow drilling? Like, what is it that we should be looking for? And please, in layman's types of terms.
Yeah, look, our focus really is on looking at defining an open pitable resource initially, which is I think very it's going to be reasonably easy to do for us because we've got those breccia pipes outcropping on the surface. So the geometry of those breccia pipes, it appears from a mining point of view that they'll amend themselves reasonably well to open pit mining. But we also do have that deeper potential at depth. We've got mineralisation now down to about 400 metres below the surface. So there is a possible underground component to the mineralisation, and as I mentioned before, we've also got these regional targets, which looking at the results of the recent mapping, it looks like that they're relatively close to the surface. So again, those regional targets should provide us with the opportunity for some open pittable resources. But we'll just have to see. We haven't drilled any of those yet, but we just have to see the depth potential of those as well.
Yeah, and also what I think is very important there is if it is somewhat shallow, it also means obviously that you could potentially be in the lower cost quartile, which again, so many discoveries, if they don't have the infrastructure around it, if they don't have that cheap cost associated with it, they do become very vulnerable. Whereas in the case of Culpeo, it sounds like that you do have all those potentials to have a source of labor at a reasonable price, reasonably priced infrastructure, open pit. Is that how you look at it also?
Absolutely, Greg. I mean, that's why we've focused on the coastal belt, because I think, that building a mine is an achievable sort of goal for a junior company. We're also focused on that higher grade material as well. I mean, it's pretty obvious that Lana Carina is sitting around the sort of 0.8 to 1% copper. When you compare that to some of the other copper explorers, those grades are some probably almost double some of the other guys and what they're looking at. And the other thing is, we're looking for that that manageable tonnage, 50 to 100 million
Correct.
ton. You can build a plant, for you probably get away with, a couple of $100 million capital expenditure for a plant that size, as opposed to, exploring for these very large porphyry coppers. The capital costs of some of those projects are, realistically probably a little bit more than a junior could tackle themselves. So that's certainly why we were attracted to Lana Carina, and also, the position within that coastal belt.
Yeah, as investors, we're always looking for those companies that are upside, but somewhat achievable realistically too. In other words, it's always well and good where you see these enormous projects, but the reality is they're in the middle of nowhere, so to speak. And that's always a challenge.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. And, I think there's, that's, again, that the coastal belt offers those opportunities for a, medium-sized company like ourselves.
Right. Hey, Max, we unfortunately have to keep the interview short. If there were a couple of messages, one or two, that you want every investor, though, to really understand about Culpeo, what would they be?
Look, I think the key thing with Culpeo is that we're very focused on, putting the funds that we have into the ground. The board is, full of geologists and mining engineers. So, all of our efforts are going into drilling, going into geophysics, going into geochemistry, going into geological mapping. So we're very focused on, taking an asset like Lana Carina, expanding the mineralisation, moving this project into sort of a resource, resource drill out phase. We've got the grade. We've certainly got some, nice wide copper and molybdenum intersections. And that's what we bring to the table, is the fact that we've got this project. It's got a huge amount of upside, both within the known mineralisation itself, and also these regional targets. And I think I think copper is a pretty exciting place to be at the moment. This whole transition to your green energy, and the focus on electric vehicles, and and all of the infrastructure that goes with that. So if people are looking for a company that is focused on copper, and is focused on a place like Chile. I mean, Chile is the #1 copper producer in the world. So realistically, if you're going to go looking for copper, I don't think there's a better place to be than Chile. So I think Culpeo ticks a lot of those boxes.
Max, thank you so much for your time. We definitely looking forward to the next year. Please stay in touch.
Thanks very much, Greg, and it's a pleasure to be here today.
Right. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching another episode of 18 Minutes with 180 Markets. And don't forget, if you want access to thousands of capital raises, sign up at 180markets.com.au and you'll get access to our very next capital raise. Thanks for watching.